And that was my first introduction into mental illness. I have a first cousin who was diagnosed with schizophrenia. Of course, it was years later once we knew that's what he was, but his behavior was really bizarre and erratic that, people, my mother, my aunts, just kind of, he's not right, he's sick, no one really talked about it. I didn't really understand probably until high school that he was really sick, mentally sick. Of course, I didn't have a term for the sickness that he had or the illness that he had, but he was sick with something.
Mental.
So, yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. So I think that people, lack of knowledge and definitely lack of resources, because compared to our Caucasian counterparts, we don't have the resources or the information or, the insurance can be a barrier. Sometimes our African American clients don't feel like they connect with Caucasian therapists.
So it's a little bit deeper than that. That's learned behavior in their culture. So they learn to be at peace, to not wander, and to stay focused.
Right.
And our kids don't really learn that because they bouncing off the wall with PlayStation, television, somebody screaming up and down the stairs. Change the channel, get the remote, lock the door. It's so much chaos in the household, in our community, that it's become a norm. A broken home is a norm.
There are so many other priorities in our community and in our homes that
you can't.
My uncle who's not right it never makes it to the table for even discussion.
Right. Absolutely right.
The kids who are acting out in class, it always gets deemed a behavioral issue when it probably isn't.
So let's take it to the socio-economic impact.
Exactly, because they're trying to figure out how they're going to get their bills paid.
Exactly.
Bare necessity, basic needs have to be met.
Yes.
And you won't ever get a chance to even address, which is why our counterparts don't really have those issues, because that becomes the priority.
We all had that either cousin or aunt or somebody that was in that back room that people just said, she's sick or she's off.
The door's always shut.
The door's always, you don't take her out to events or anything because that is the shame that's behind a mental illness in our community. That I can say for myself, I never had a problem addressing things that I felt like I needed to go to therapy and talk about. And you're right, if you're in therapy as especially a young African American woman, you don't want to sit across from a Caucasian doctor who can't relate to any issue.
The social norms and the social standard are so far apart. It's so far apart. And our kids are just comfortable with broken homes. They're comfortable going to school with that same raggedy uniform. See, I don't believe in that. We shouldn't be wearing uniforms because kids can't express themselves with that uniform every day.
Absolutely.
So what do? The next thing they do is act out. And people talk about the fashion statement and the kids who don't have, you're going to get talked about with a dirty uniform on. It's the same. You may as well wear your regular clothes, your own clothes. It's not about somebody robbing you for a shirt or a pair of pants. It's more about self-expression. When we went to school, you had the clique who wore, let's just say, Tommy Hilfiger, your preppy crew, your Nauticus Tommy Hilfigers. Then you had your Russell sweatsuit people. But that was how they distinguished themselves.
That's true.
So you didn't have to reach and act out for attention. The factions were formed because, he looks like me. She looks like me. We're like-minded. They don't do that anymore. And then our etiquette is off. Our mannerisms. Nobody wants to be held accountable. Nobody can be checked in our community anymore. So when a parent comes to school, they get to bully the school. So when the kids see that, how can they respect the school authority?
Right.
All of this comes from what they are constantly taught, what they see, what they watch, what they listen to, and they do only what they know.
So that's an
Most
extra
Children
layer.
don't know anything. To be frank, they know zero when they get here.
That's an extra layer.
So what they learn is, in kindergarten, if somebody touch you, you better beat them up.
Exactly.
Amen.
When it happens,
Most ignorant thing we ever taught our culture.
but then when it happens, then the mama come and now she want to scold the kid. But you taught me,
You taught me
how
this.
to
Exactly.
do this.
Yeah, this is what you taught me.
And then, in addition to that,
And I can't hold you accountable either.
can't hold you accountable
Exactly.
either. And it's just a rolling snowball.
Yep.
Right.
And
So-
then that leads to trouble. That leads to trouble of law.
Yep.
That leads to now they're behind in school. Now they can't read. So then they act out because they don't want the attention on them, because they don't want nobody else to know they can't read either. The school is just pushing them
Then they
along.
act out.
The mama is doing whatever she can do to just survive.
But I think that all of this
Yeah.
goes back to the fact of what we're discussing tonight, and that's just about unresolved issues
Yeah.
Unresolved
that
issues.
the parents are having.
Trauma.
I mean,
It's trauma.
We
Yeah.
work one-on-one
Trauma.
with children.
It's trauma.
Yeah.
Children that the trauma that has been placed in their life
It's
is
every day,
unbelievable. And all the
pounding
children want that we work with, I mean,
attention and love.
and they want to feel
Period.
a family unit.
Exactly.
I have a kid
Exactly.
that if I introduce him as anything else than my son, he will go into crisis. He has gone into crisis with me.
All
on
kids
that
want to do is
issue
belong
over
to
and over
something.
and over
That's
again.
it.
You know,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
like, wow, you are not my son.
Exactly.
But he wants to
Exactly.
belong
He wants to
to
belong.
wants to
something.
belong
Right.
to something, and I
He
am
wants that
sympathetic
validation.
to
Right.
that. And we have this one child that's been with us for 4 or 5 years now, and when he goes into any type of facility, he will AWOL and come knock on our door. You know, so I mean, again, it just goes back to
Yep.
everything that you guys are saying goes back to unresolved issues.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's so much
Yep.
trauma.